What if you were denied your dream job, not because you weren't qualified, but because a secret algorithm hated your resume? What if you were rejected for a loan you desperately needed, not by a person, but by a line of code that decided you lived in the wrong neighborhood? What if the doctor you saw used a system that was taught to value other patients more than you? This isn't a movie. This is happening right now. Secret AIs, hidden in a black box nobody can see inside, are making huge decisions about your life. And they are not the perfect, unbiased robots we were promised. They are copies of us, of our world, and they have all our worst biases. When the data we feed an AI is messed up and unfair, the AI becomes biased, and it makes horrible, unfair decisions. These secret biases are already controlling your life, your job, and your future in ways you can't even imagine. In this video, we are going to smash open that black box. We'll show you the secret biases, where they're causing the most damage, and most importantly, we'll show you how to fight back. Section 1. The problem. What is algorithmic bias? Okay, before we get into the insane stuff, let's break this down. What is algorithmic bias? Basically, an algorithm is just a recipe a computer follows. You give it ingredients, that's the data, and a list of steps, the algorithm, and you get a final dish, the decision. From the songs Spotify plays for you to the directions on Google Maps, algorithms are literally everywhere, running everything in the background. And that sounds amazing, right? Computers are just math. They can't be biased. They can look at massive amounts of information and make logical decisions. For years, we thought AI would get rid of human bias in things like hiring, banking, and even criminal justice. We wanted a perfectly fair robot referee. But there is a giant flaw in that plan. Where does the AI get its information? Who gives it the data? We do. AI systems learn from our world, a world that is already full of unfairness and discrimination. It comes down to a simple rule in programming: garbage in, garbage out, or in this case, bias in, bias out. AI bias is what happens when a computer system makes prejudiced decisions because it was built on bad data or flawed ideas. An AI is only as fair as the data we give it and the people who build it. If you train an AI on decades of unfair history, the AI doesn't fix it. It learns the unfairness as a rule. It sees bias not as a problem, but as a pattern to copy and make even worse. This happens in a couple of key ways. The biggest is biased data. If an AI is trained on history that ignores entire groups of people, its decisions for those people will be terrible and dangerous. Another problem is when developers accidentally tell the AI to look at things that are basically code for race or gender. For example, an AI might not be allowed to look at race, but it uses your zip code, which is basically the same thing in many places, to decide if you get a loan. And this isn't some tiny glitch. The consequences are massive. It leads to people being unfairly shut out of opportunities and makes society even more unequal, all on a giant, automated scale. These AIs put a high-tech, shiny label of fairness on top of old-school prejudice. That's the problem. It's silent, it's huge, and it's happening right under our noses. Mark out Section 2, agitate. 3 areas where algorithmic bias is harming you right now. The idea is scary, but the reality is absolutely terrifying. This isn't something that might happen, it's happening today, and there are real victims. Let's look at 3 areas where these secret biases are already destroying lives: your job, your health, and your freedom. Area 1, your career and financial future, hiring and credit scoring. Imagine this: you spend years building your resume for your dream job. You click Submit and wait. What you don't know is a human might never even see your application. A crazy number of companies use AI to filter out resumes before they ever reach a person. These AIs are the gatekeepers to your career, and they can be incredibly biased. The most insane example of this was Amazon's AI recruiting tool. In 2014, Amazon tried to build an AI that could look at 100 resumes and spit out the top 5 people to hire. To teach the AI what a good employee looked like, they fed it 10 years of their own hiring data. The problem? Most of their employees back then were men. The AI didn't see a diversity issue. It saw a pattern for success. It literally taught itself that men were better candidates. The algorithm started punishing resumes that had the word women's, like captain of the women's chess club. It also downgraded graduates from 2 all-women's colleges. The AI even learned to prefer resumes that used words men use more often, like executed and captured. By 2018, Amazon's own engineers admitted they couldn't stop the AI from being biased, so they had to kill the entire project. Amazon caught its mistake, but today, countless companies use similar AI tools. A 2024 study from the University of Washington showed just how bad it is. Researchers gave AI models the exact same resume, but just changed the names. The AIs showed a crazy preference for white-sounding names, and in their tests, black male names were never chosen over white male names. This isn't just about getting a job, this is about even having a chance. And the bias doesn't stop at hiring, it follows you to the bank. When you apply for a loan or a credit card, it's almost guaranteed an AI is making the final call. These AIs are also trained on old biased data, and they can learn that things like your zip code or even the stores you shop at are risky. They are digitally redlining entire communities. It creates a never-ending cycle where an AI decides your financial future based on unfair patterns from decades ago. Area 2. Your health and well-being. Healthcare. You would hope that for life or death decisions, we'd only use science. But AI is being used in healthcare, and it's bringing its biases with it. One of the most shocking examples ever was discovered in 2019. It involved an AI used in US hospitals to find patients who needed extra care. This single algorithm was making decisions for 200 million people every year. The AI was supposed to find the sickest patients and get them into special high-risk care programs. To figure out who was sickest, the AI used a simple shortcut. It looked at how much money a patient had cost the hospital in the past. It assumed that people who cost more must be sicker. But this one simple assumption hid a massive, deadly bias. In the US, black patients historically have less money spent on their care than white patients, even when they are just as sick. The AI didn't know that. It just saw that black patients cost less, so it decided they must be healthier. The result was a total catastrophe. Black patients, who were way sicker, with more diseases and worse lab results, were constantly getting lower risk scores from the AI. They were being ignored by the very programs designed to save them. The researchers who found this bias calculated that if they fixed it, more than double the number of black patients would get the help they needed. They fixed over 80% of the bias, but it's a terrifying warning of how one little variable, cost, can become a deadly weapon. This problem is also in diagnostics. AI models built to find skin cancer have a huge, dangerous bias. Studies found that almost all of the photo databases used to train these AIs are full of pictures of light-skinned people. Because of this, these life-saving AIs are way less accurate for people of color, which could lead to missed or late diagnoses for the deadliest skin cancers. Area 3. Your freedom and safety. Criminal justice. Maybe the most chilling use of biased AI is in our justice system. All over the United States, judges use AI to help them decide everything from bail to how long someone goes to prison. One of the most famous AIs is called Compass, and it gives defendants a risk score that predicts if they'll commit another crime. This whole thing was blown wide open by an incredible investigation in 2016 from ProPublica. They looked at the risk scores for over 7,000 people arrested in one county in Florida, and what they found was insane racial bias. Black defendants were almost twice as likely as white defendants to be wrongly labeled as a high risk to commit another crime. Think about that. They were flagged as future criminals, but then they never committed another crime. At the same time, white defendants were way more likely to be wrongly labeled as low risk, only to get out and commit more crimes. Let's look at two real people. Brisha Borden, a young black woman, was arrested for a minor theft. Vernon Prater, a white man, was arrested for shoplifting and already had 2 armed robbery convictions. Compass rated Borden high risk and Prater low risk. In the next 2 years, Borden committed 0 new crimes. Prater went on to commit another huge theft. The algorithm got it completely backward in a way that perfectly matched old racist ideas. What's so crazy about a tool like Compass is that the company that makes it calls the algorithm a trade secret. This means nobody, not the lawyers, not the defendant, not us, can see how it actually works. It's a black box that can literally decide if you go to jail, and you're not even allowed to question it. And it's not just Compass. Facial recognition AI, which police are using more and more, is also full of bias. Studies have found these systems make way more mistakes identifying women and people of color, which can lead to people being falsely arrested. When the tools we use for justice are themselves unjust, our entire legal system is broken. Section 3. Solve reclaiming control. How we can fight algorithmic bias.
This all sounds
terrible,
but it is not
hopeless.
The war against AI bias
isn't about throwing away technology.
It's about
demanding better technology.
It's about
going from being scared to being empowered.
We have to attack this
from the top down, with governments and companies, and from the bottom up, with you.
Part 1. The organizational
and technical fix.
The companies building these
AIs are the ones who have to fix it.
A whole field of ethical AI
is coming up with ways to do just that.
It all starts with the data.
First, it all starts
the rule
with the
bias
data.
In, bias out points to the number one solution.
Bias
we need better
in,
data.
bias out
that means they
points
need
to the number one solution.
We
need better data. That means they need to collect diverse and representative data.
That only hired one type
to build a fair hiring AI, you can't just use data from a company that only hired one type of person for 50 years.
And after they get the data,
developers have to go out and build new data sets that actually look like the real world. And after they get the data, they need to do your data audit.
The ingredients before they start cooking.
Before they even start building, they have to check the data for bias. Are some groups missing? By cleaning the ingredients before they start cooking, they stop the poison from getting in.
They have to focus on the AI itself.
Second,
one of the coolest
building
new
fairer
ideas
AIs and demanding we see inside.
XAI.
Once the data is
The
clean,
goal of XAI
they have to focus on the AI itself.
Black box.
One of the coolest
Instead
new
of an
ideas
AI
is
just saying
explainable AI.
An explainable AI has
The
to
goal
show
of
you
XAI
why.
is to crack open the black box. Instead of an AI just
It
saying
lets us see when
loan
an AI
denied,
is using a
an
bad
explainable
reason,
AI
and it
has
gives
to show
people
you
the power
why.
to challenge an
This
unfair
transparency is
Another
everything.
way is to
It
build
lets us see when an AI is using a bad reason,
These are AIs
and it gives
that are
people the
literally
power to
programmed with
challenge
rules that
an
stop them
unfair
from being
decision.
biased. For example,
Another
a
way
developer could
is to
tell
build
an AI that its
fairness-aware
loan approval rate
algorithms.
has to be basically the same for all
These are
different groups of
AIs
people.
that are literally programmed with rules
Third,
that stop them
constant
from being
monitoring
biased.
and human veto power.
For example, a developer
Launching
could
an
tell an AI
isn't
that
the
its
end of
loan
the job.
approval rate
Bias
has to
can
be
sneak in
basically
over
the
time.
same for all
That's why they
different
need
groups of people.
continuous bias
Third,
detection and monitoring.
constant monitoring and
Companies
human
have to be
veto
constantly
power.
checking their live AIs to make
Launching
sure
an
they're not
AI
going rogue.
isn't the end of the job.
And in the end, AI
Bias
should only
can
ever be
sneak
a tool
in
to
over
help
time.
humans,
That's
not
why they
replace
need
them.
continuous
We
bias
need
detection
robust
and
human
monitoring.
oversight, especially for
Companies
big
have to be
decisions.
constantly checking their
A
live
person has
AIs to make
the
sure
final
they're not
hiring
going
decision.
rogue.
A
And
doctor
in the
has
end,
to approve the final
AI
treatment
should
plan,
only ever be a tool
and a judge
to
has to
help
be the one
humans,
who makes the final
not
call
replace
in
them.
court. The AI
We
can
need
give suggestions,
robust
but a human has
oversight,
to have the final say,
especially
and be
for
held
big
accountable.
decisions.
Finally,
A person has to
none
make
of
the
this
final
works
hiring
without
decision.
me,
A doctor
diverse
has to
development
approve
teams.
the final treatment plan.
If the
And
only
a judge
people building
has to be
AI
the
all
one
look the same
who makes
and
the
think
final
the same,
call in
they'll
court.
have the same blind spots.
The AI can give
Teams with people
suggestions,
from different
but a human
backgrounds
has to
are
have
way
the
better
final
at seeing a
say
problem
and be
before
held
it gets
accountable.
baked into the code.
Finally,
Governments
none
are
of this
finally
works
starting to wake
without
up too.
diverse
The
development
EU's
teams.
AI Act is
If
creating
the only
new
people
rules
building
for
AI
transparency
all
and
look the same
accountability,
and think the
forcing
same,
companies to
they'll
take
have the
this
same
seriously.
blind spots.
Part 2.
Teams with
Your
people
role,
from different
how you can fight
backgrounds
back.
are way better at seeing
Big
a problem
companies move slow,
before it
but
gets
you are
baked
not
into the
powerless.
code.
There are
Governments
things
are
you can
finally
do
starting
right
to
now
wake up
protect
too.
yourself and
The
demand a
EU's
fairer
AI
world.
Act
1.
is creating
Become
new
a skeptic.
rules for transparency
The
and
first step is
accountability,
knowing the enemy.
forcing
Now
companies
that you know
to
how
take
these
this
AIs
seriously.
can be biased, you can
Part
look at
2.
them with suspicion.
Your role,
When you use
how
an
you
AI,
can fight
ask
back.
questions. If Netflix
Big
only
companies
ever
move
recommends
slow,
action movies,
but you are not
is that
powerless.
What you want? Or is
There are
that
things
the
you can do
AI's
right
bias?
now to
Don't
protect
just blindly
yourself
trust that the
and
tech is
demand
neutral.
a fairer world. 1.
Demand
Become a
transparency.
skeptic.
You
The
have
first
power
step
as a consumer,
is knowing
an
the enemy.
employee, and a citizen.
Now that you know how these
When an
AIs
AI
can be
makes a
biased,
decision about
you can look at them with
demand to know
suspicion.
why. If
When
you
you
get
use an
denied for a
AI,
credit card,
ask
call the
questions.
bank.
If
and
Netflix
ask for
only
the
ever
exact
recommends action
reasons.
movies, is
The
that
more
what
of
you
us
want?
who demand
Or is that
answers,
the AI's
more pressure
bias?
companies will feel
Don't just
to open
blindly
up the
trust
black box.
that the tech is
Support
neutral.
politicians and groups
2.
who are fighting for AI
Demand
laws
transparency.
because we need rules to protect us.
You have power as a consumer,
Filter 3.
an employee,
Protect your data.
and a citizen.
Your data is the
When
gasoline
an
that
AI
powers
makes a
these
decision
AIs.
about you,
Be careful
demand
who you give
to
it
know
to.
why.
Actually
If
read
you
the
get
privacy
denied for a credit
policies.
card,
Support
call the
movements
bank
for data
and
dignity
ask for the
that say
exact
you should have
reasons.
more control
The
over
more
your
of us who
personal
demand
data.
answers,
Whenever you
the more
can,
pressure
opt
companies
out of
will
data
feel
collection
to
that
open up the
seems
black
sketchy.
box. Support
4.
politicians
Diversify
and
your own
groups who are
feed.
fighting for AI laws
AI bias
because we
isn't
need
just
rules
in
to
big
protect
decisions.
us.
It's in the news and
3.
videos you see.
Protect your data.
Social media algorithms
Your
create
data
filter bubbles
is the gasoline
that, just
that powers
reinforce
these
what you
AIs.
already believe.
Be careful
You
who
have to
you give it
actively
to.
fight this.
Actually read the
Go out
privacy
and follow
policies.
people and watch
Support
videos that
movements
challenge
for
your
data
worldview.
dignity that
Make
say
an effort to
you
break
should
out
have
of the
more
bubble the
control
algorithm is
over
building
your
around you.
personal data. Whenever you can,
5.
opt out
Consider
of
a
data
career in
collection
this field.
that seems sketchy.
If you're really
4.
fired up about
Diversify
this, you can make it
your
your
own
job.
feed.
The field
AI
of
bias
AI ethics is
isn't just in
exploding.
big decisions.
We need more
It's in
data
the news
scientists,
and videos you
sociologists,
see.
lawyers,
Social
and
media
just plain
algorithms
ethical people
create
from all
filter
backgrounds
bubbles
to build
that just
fairer
reinforce
AIs from the
what
inside.
you already believe.
You could be the person who
You have to
designs the
actively
next
fight
generation
this.
of unbiased
Go out
technology.
and follow people and watch
The
videos
fight against
that challenge
algorithmic
your
bias
worldview.
is one of the biggest
Make
civil
an
rights
effort to
battles
break
of our
out of the
generation.
bubble the algorithm
It's going
is
to
building
take new
around
tech,
you.
new laws,
5.
and a massive movement
Consider
of people
a career
demanding change.
in this field.
By understanding the problem and taking
If you're
these
really
steps,
fired up about
you
this,
can help make
you
sure
can make it your
technology
job.
serves us,
The field
and
of
not the
AI
other way
ethics
around.
is exploding. We need more data scientists, sociologists, lawyers, and just plain ethical people from all backgrounds to build fairer AIs from the inside. You could be the person who designs the next generation of unbiased technology. The fight against algorithmic bias is one of the biggest civil rights battles of our generation. It's going to take new tech, new laws, and a massive movement of people demanding change. By understanding the problem and taking these steps, you can help make sure technology serves us and not the other way around. Call to action. The secret biases we talked about today are powerful, but we are more powerful. The best weapon we have in this fight is sharing this knowledge. If you learned something from this video, please help us spread the word by hitting that like button, subscribing, and smashing that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. But let's not stop there. The conversation is the most important part. I need to hear from you. Have you ever felt like you were screwed over by an unfair automated decision? What is your single biggest fear about the future of AI? Let me know in the comments below. Let's figure this out together. We are at a huge crossroads. Artificial intelligence could change the world. It could help us cure diseases, solve climate change, and unlock human potential. But that amazing future is not guaranteed. Technology is a mirror, and right now, it's reflecting some of the oldest and ugliest parts of humanity. We've exposed the hidden world of AI bias, from the sexist hiring AI at Amazon to the racist AIs in our hospitals and courtrooms. We've seen how these systems can become massive engines of discrimination. The stakes, our jobs, our health, our freedom, are way too high to do nothing. But the main takeaway today should not be fear, it should be determination. AI bias is a human problem, which means it has human solutions. By demanding transparency, fighting for diverse data, auditing these systems, and always keeping a human in charge, we can force technology to become more just. And by becoming educated, critical, and loud citizens, we can take back control in a world run by code. The AI genie is out of the bottle. Our job now is to teach it to be our best self, not our worst. It's a massive challenge that we can only win together. The future of AI isn't written yet. Let's write it together.